God damn, this is bizarre. So, Diana, the road of truth, shut the front door. Ah, where the fuck did it go? I definitely didn't watch. This is my history, and I definitely didn't watch all those. I was watching this.
Stay ahead in Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War with Mountain Dew Game Fuel. Ordinary tissues cause your nose dread. Try soothing puffs plus lotion.
So many commercials now. No, there's 2 ads per fucking video. What the fuck? I made it to 5:25. I had to start over. Jesus Christ. What? Good luck, hon. Good luck, Ed. And now? Not. Oh, fuck. And then... No, I've never even heard of that. What? Oh, fuck. thanks, guys. That was cool. But it didn't answer my question. All
Everyone ready? Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus team up. Oh my god, oh my god!
65 light years. What? We just watched that video. All right. Ah. 25,000 years, light years. Okay. All you need to know. Let me see. Let me check something. Rainbow Warrior, Cousin Vinny, Rainbow Warrior. News. All right. Make sure I'm clear with that one. All right. Back to YouTube and my history, because that's not what I was watching. I didn't watch 60 Minutes. No. This is what I was watching. This is cool. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. Conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn coming up December 21st, 2020 in the solstice. A shifting of the ages not seen since 1226 AD in the Middle Ages. Moving signs in astrology from Earth into air. A once in a 700-year plus cycle. At the same time, this brings us into the true dawning of the age of Aquarius, the first minute in the first degree, moving through the precession of the equinoxes into a new sign, Aquarius. At the same time, descending into the grand solar minimum, an overlapping of 3 cycles. The media coming out with super bolts detected above. Lightning 100x more intense than what we see from the ground level. And maybe you'll understand that the Great Reset in the World Economic Forum is not because they care about us, but to set up the power structure in air so they still remain in power after the changes. As Americans seek economic protection after the most controversial election in U.S. history, year to date in 2020 alone, gold is up 30% and silver rising more than 50%. And now we're entering a new year, facing economic realities of a global energy crisis caused by COVID and political reactions. Patriot Gold Group has the No Fee for Life IRA, where your IRA or 401k can be in physical gold or physical silver. And the knowledge that Patriot Gold Group is Consumer Affairs top-rated gold IRA dealer 5 years in a row from 2016 to present. To find more information, the link's in the description box below. And now on with the video. And if you're feeling a little bit energetically strange, things are unwinding around us, I can explain it the best of my ability in this video. Jupiter and Saturn are going to align. Conjunction. It happens every 20 years, which is a cycle in itself of 20 years. But in multiple cycles of those, they bring in the change of an age in the elements, a mutation from Earth into air. Now, the last time the mutation or the change of the element took place was the Middle Ages. 1226 is where we need to go back to, with the closeness of Jupiter and Saturn in this conjunction, along with the shift of an element. So rare is this that it would bring on a changing of an age on our Earth anyway. A denser medium being replaced by a lighter, faster medium. Cryptocurrency, decentralized economy, work from home. All these things are being forced upon us. We're not chosen to do this, but the power brokers across the planet, if you look at Earth, it looks like a pyramid. It's a mountain. That was the traditional structure of control, top down. This will no longer function in these new energies we're moving into, air, creativity, a different kind of power for the individual. And these elitists know they cannot retain power with the same structure, so they're forcing the change to create the new foundation for themselves to stay in power. The Great Reset. Do you think that all this is a coincidence that it's happening right now? You're being forced into this whether you want to or not. As I heard it put, millionaires, they don't look at astrology, but billionaires do. We're ending a uniting of the Earth's signs. We're moving in. The lightning bolts of Jupiter will not only bring about a destruction of old societal structures, but will impel us to release personal dreams and drama we've been attached to. Beginning of a new era. We will need to make space in our lives. Do you notice how they're trying to take away, remove things from our lives? Set up the foundation for the new things coming into our lives where these elitists will still try to retain power. And interestingly, super bolts are now in the news on the 24th here, just a few days back. Headlines about electrical activity 100x brighter than what we can see as normal lightning bolts. With the energetic changes sweeping across our solar system, the supercharged electrical connections back to the sun, front and center here. Why are they telling us about the super bolts? This is one bolt lasting nearly 7 seconds, covering hundreds of miles across the southeast U.S., but now there's thousands of these. 1 in every 300 lightning strikes is turning into this right now. What is it about the change in electroplasma around us, around our planet, discharging back to the sun as it steps down in its 400-year cycle as well? And another cycle lapping on top of this is the biggest one, the dawning of the age of Aquarius. We've heard this since, 1960s? We heard it again in the year 2000, the age of Aquarius. But here it is, truly coming into the very first minute of the first degree out of the circle of 360 degrees, transiting through the precession of the equinoxes. We are literally changing the sign on the 21st. This is going to bring us into a new energetic frequency as well. This conjunction is the first minute of the first degree, taking us across the 26,000-year cycle through the heavens that the Mayans were so famous in referencing on how the energies would change across the planet. As the pole stars would also change through this 26,000-year cycle, and the grand solar minimum diving into its low cycle, all on top of this, the regular 20-year Jupiter-Saturn conjunction overlapping on the grand solar minimum 400-year cycle, on top of the change of the elements on a 700-year cycle, intertwined with a 2,120-year cycle. All happening, all beginning on the 21st of December 2020. This is the most important time for us as a human on this planet. The pro-human future is in front of us. The energies we can harness and use as a united human front and kick the darkness back and say, no, thank you. And in the cycle of energetic change, kick the darkness back for another 12,000 years. See you next time.
I'll say, Luke, you are my father.
Power, he went on and said.
Yeah, get a load of this atrocity. Apparently they have influencer classes now. How does that work? Okay, class, today we're going to teach you how to be full of yourself. We're going to show you techniques on how to pretend that you're excited about everything you say. When their heads stop spinning, you show them how to start and finish a day without the desire to see heart emojis on their Instagram from married men scrolling Instagram with their pants around their ankles and girls commenting, yes, on every photo you post. Maybe if we start thinking outside the phone, we can finally show these people there's more to life than this and get them the help they need.
Wow, whoever thought the collapse of our society would come because of hubris, arrogance, and ego? Who knew? Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Kevin of WeAreChange.org. A lot of important things to get into in this video, but before we get into that, definitely go check out Joey B. Tunes. We only played a short segment of his original video, which is linked down in the description below. He does good work. When watching this video, made me automatically think about 5th generation warfare. Now, if you don't know what that is, well, go do some research on it, and you will definitely go down a rabbit hole, especially realizing the larger context of our modern-day society and its ever-decrepit downtroddenness towards self-destruction. Yeah, lots of lunacy out there. As even National Geographic's just released their 2020 photos and unironically put this photo of 2 elderly people hugging through plastic sheets as their first picture for 2020, and the second one is, of course, a mass rally for Black Lives Matter that goes very well with their cover promoting the movement, which, according to their own logic, is spreading a deadly disease like rapid fire, but it's worth it, according to them. Again, have these people absolutely just lost it? But when you actually deep dive and look into how things are actually being run, orchestrated, and organized against you, it actually makes sense, especially in the backdrop of the news that we're going to be getting into in this video. Specifically highlighting the bombshell video from a Beijing professor a couple days ago that had shocking revelations about the Chinese government's control over U.S. corporations, Wall Street, and our politicians, which are in cahoots with them on levels and scales that we always knew were there, but as we find out today, on even more of a gross level. All of this on top of yet another Chinese government spy that has infiltrated our political system in more ways than one. And oh boy, this story definitely gets very juicy, and it's even hinted at by this Beijing government professor. Yeah, I'm even flabbergasted and surprised at what we just found out and just how out in the open it is, but more importantly, how detrimental it is to everyone. And before we get into that, plus a lot more, the information that you're watching right now, this video, this channel is heavily regulated. We are also kicked out of the YouTube partner program. We were one of the first channels to ever be demonetized selectively, and because of that, we have to work with companies that provide you a good service, and one of them that I stand behind is, of course, safepreparedandready.com. They are a great service. I personally use them and have been using them for years, especially when I go camping. They provide you pretty tasty, pretty premium, storable food that lasts you up to 25 years. I like them. I think you will too. Check out our link, safepreparedandready.com, down in the description below. Now, I think in the backdrop of everything that we're finding out today, we need to understand China. The opening of China was originally done by individuals like Henry Kissinger and David Rockefeller that have propelled China to be the world power that it is right now. With the quote deindustrialization, the getting rid of blue-collar jobs in the United States and replacing them with slave labor in China, there's a huge economic opportunity that has enriched many multinational corporations and government officials to wealth that they couldn't even imagine themselves. And with that wealth, with that power comes, of course, control, which China is using as, of course, it is setting itself as the chief global rival of the United States, with its ultimate goal of having world hegemony and being the world's supreme power. Right now, the United States is the #1 global power, which China wants to unseat them with, of course, their clear ambitions, which they have been vocal about for a very long time now. The video you're watching right now actually played on state-run television in China, and it is from one of the most prominent Beijing professors from a university that, of course, is very closely tied in to the government. If you go to China, almost everything of influence and power is essentially tied into the government in one way or another. There is no private enterprise. There's just literally quasi-government control of every aspect of society to the smallest levels of a social credit score. And in this video, which by the way, this Chinese government is banning on their internet, this professor openly boasts about how China could swing American policy because it, quote, has people at the top of America's core inner circle of power. He went on and said how the Obama administration was easily manipulated, but how those ties were severed and how they couldn't get what they want with the Donald Trump presidency, and how he believed that those ties between China and the United States would be restored once President Biden is in the White House. Now, of course, U.S. President Donald Trump just tweeted this video right now, but hearing this Chinese professor say how he has people at the top of American influential institutions and how China manipulates these relationships really provides you a lot of context to what has been happening domestically here in the United States, especially with policies that don't go in favor of the American people. Now, the professor went as far as to give key details, but did not disclose the identities of individuals, one of which he says runs a major Wall Street company, another a very powerful political influential person that he says he can't reveal because it would put them in a lot of trouble, saying, quote, he needed to speak carefully so as to not reveal the identities of those involved since it would get them in trouble. He said, quote, in plain and simple language, during the last 3 to 4 decades, we used the core circle inside America's real power, going on saying Wall Street had a very profound influence over America's domestic and foreign affairs since the 1970s. We used to heavily rely on them. Then the professor goes on and says after Donald Trump was elected, Wall Street, quote, couldn't control Trump because awkwardly there was a soft breach of contract between them, which made them hostile to each other. Then going on and saying, quote, during the U.S.-China trade war, which happened under Donald Trump, quote, they tried to help, Dr. T said. My friends in the U.S. told me that they tried to help, but they couldn't. Now, this bombshell video definitely has a lot of major implications, highlighting how the establishment of the United States has essentially sold out to China, a country that many people point to finger at a botched response to the Conholio sickness that essentially allowed it to spread all over the world while they were arresting doctors and journalists who were trying to warn the world as they were covering it up and allowing international flights out of Wuhan, but stopped flights domestically in all of China. The Chinese have also had many spying operations established in the United States. The most recent one was a member of the U.S. Marine Corps and U.S. Army Reserve that held a secret level security clearance and then later worked at the NYPD, where he literally spied on Tibetan dissidents for the Chinese government in order to find, subjugate, enslave, and to use Tibetans for organ harvesting back in the Chinese mainland. Yes, absolutely evil deeds by a man that was able to infiltrate our law enforcement and use it for the powers of despots in China that have no semblance of human rights. And now today we have more revelations of yet another spy that we're getting reports slept with 2 U.S. mayors and successfully infiltrated Congressman Eric Swalwell's office, all under a Chinese intelligence operation. Now, the Chinese professor at the beginning of this video openly talked about a political spy that now lives in China, which could be this Fang Fan, the one mentioned in this particular story, since, of course, she slipped out of the United States, escaped, and is now reported to live in China. Now, Miss Fang reportedly used campaign fundraising, networking, her, quote, charm, and romantic relationships to get close with politicians. And most notably, she helped Congressman Eric Swalwell fundraise for his re-election campaign and had, quote, many interactions with him at several events. She is also reported to have helped Tulsi Gabbard's fundraisers and actually became well known in the Californian political scene. Now, of course, that's not the only espionage that the Chinese have done on the United States. There also have been a large theft of intellectual property and U.S. military secrets, which, by the way, Israel our, quote, greatest ally actually sold to the Chinese. There's actually a major scandal where the Israeli defense minister had to resign after it came out that the Israeli government was selling American secrets and the latest technological advancements militarily to the Chinese. And you would think there would be more of a controversy over or an issue since, of course, the United States is getting usurped. It's getting sold out. It's getting extorted. It's getting used for what? A little bit of money, some shekels there. And as all of this is happening, we are seeing just devastating footage coming out of places like Hong Kong, which I reported on very closely. And this is video footage of Hong Kong friends and family members watching their loved ones essentially being disappeared, as of course I'm getting information from my sources in Hong Kong that many prominent activists, that many prominent protesters and media figures are literally being kidnapped into mainland China and never seen again. All of this as of course 8 more pro-democracy activists are being arrested just moments ago, and the United States is answering back with more sanctions, which China is threatening back with saying that there will be a, quote, stern retaliation over these latest political disputes. Now, whether it's stealing, pushing fentanyl, or opioids on the American public, we have to understand that China is a country that is essentially using unconventional warfare, and I think it's very fair to describe that on the American public that is usually unsuspecting of this. This is where the term fifth-generation warfare comes in hand, as I think it's fair to argue that many of the corporate Wall Street establishment push for policies that, of course, degrade the life of people in the United States. There's been a lot of propaganda and disinformation pushing and promoting some of the worst self-destructive activities on the American people, which, let's be honest here, when looking at the general public here, have been effectively used for self-destruction. Corporations that profit the most out of Chinese slave labor and human rights atrocities like Nike are here promoting Black Lives Matter. They sponsor LeBron James to the tune of close to $1 billion. Meanwhile, as they're lecturing us about a divide and conquer movement here that's tearing the shreds of this country apart, they're literally benefiting off of human exploitation in the worst possible ways. And Nike is just one small example of this, as of course
one single
there's
number,
many that
and
we
that's
could
like
demonstrate that push negative behaviors onto you that essentially rob you of your life essence. Now, is it fair to blame China on all of this? No, it's not. There's a lot of self-responsibility that needs to take place, and there also needs to be a lot of scrutiny towards intelligence agencies that also do this as well and have been exploiting this for a very long time, as well as the politicians that are selling themselves out and this country to the highest bidder. Our institutions are very easily manipulated, and in my opinion, they are being manipulated for the worst possible outcome of all of us. This is why it's also important to point out the vast amount of control that the intelligence agencies and also China specifically have on Hollywood and the, quote, entertainment industry that we watch every day. There have been many Hollywood movies and TV series that had the direct input of either China or the CIA, and they script a lot of the programming, they call it programming for a reason, that people mindlessly view without thinking, and they get subliminal, subconscious manipulations that they don't even notice happening in their life. Could be why we are seeing just utter degeneracy and corrupt behavior being promoted on a silver platter to the American public that's too self-indulged in their own image to even realize that they're being screwed over. And the censors in China are very big, and if a movie wants to make money, they will comply with these Chinese censors, as we recently saw with the Monster Hunter movie, which was pulled from movie theaters in China after, quote, racist backlash, which again is just utterly ridiculous. It's also important to note that the Chinese government officials are lecturing America about racism. Meanwhile, they're the biggest racist country out there by far. You know, when you put in a Muslim minority population in concentration camps, forced labor camps, and force them to make Nike shoes, destroy them of any identity of life, of humanity, yeah, maybe you shouldn't be lecturing people about racism. Just a thought there, but who knows? That's just my 2 cents there. Again, the core inner circle of the establishment
Holy
is absolutely rotted. It is absolutely being manipulated. That core needs to be replaced immediately before it rots and destroys everything else around it. Now, will that happen? Well, most likely not, especially not under a Biden presidency. China has vast amounts of real estate and ownership of U.S. corporations, many key people in media and entertainment, especially in the news business, in their pockets. And that's why it's more important than ever to get videos out there like this to your friends, family members, and co-workers. Again, when we look at what the Chinese are doing, they are preparing for a war. In my opinion, it's not just them, but other special interests, other intelligence agencies, other ruling elites that are already conducting fifth generational warfare. And you, right now, are either the target of it or you are already the victim of it. The gene-spliced Chinese super soldiers with their microwave weapons are one threat, but you do not have to be a threat towards yourself. You being independent, you being strong, you being healthy is the chief enemy of the powers that be that want to subjugate you. There's a reason there's been a huge agenda to try to weaken you, to try to make you sick, to try to make you pathetic, to try to make you not have a strong inner circle of family and friends that work with each other and protect each other. They want you fighting each other so you don't see the big hammer that's coming, because they see you as a big old fancy shiny nail, and they're going to nail you down the moment you let. My advice, don't let them do that. Again, if you thought my interpretations were wrong, please let me know why in the comment section below. You guys are still very blessed and very lucky that this video is still out there. You have no idea the amount of craziness we have to go through just to get these videos out there. I'm still surprised we're still on here. And because we are, it's mainly because of you sharing these videos. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. And this is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on wearechange.org.
As we've discussed, based on current production schedules, we expect to have enough doses to vaccinate 20 million Americans by the end of this year, 50 million total by the end of January, and at least 100 million total by the end of the first quarter. We remain confident that across our portfolio of multiple vaccines, we will have enough doses for any American who wants a vaccine by the end of the second quarter of 2021. As we've continued to make progress on vaccine development and manufacturing, General Perna and his team have been in close touch with our state partners on how we will be allocating and distributing the doses as they become available. We'll also be releasing more informational material in the coming days and weeks for Americans to help spread the word about the safety and efficacy of the coming vaccines. We also continue to allocate and ship more courses of the two authorized antibody treatments to help Americans at risk for severe COVID-19 who have not been hospitalized. As of today, we have now allocated more than 278,000 courses of these treatments. As I've noted in previous weeks, every American who's recovered from COVID-19 in the past 3 months can help expand our arsenal of potential treatments for this virus by donating plasma.
What the hell is that?
Millions of Americans have recovered from COVID-19 in the last several months and could be eligible to donate. Please contact your local American Red Cross or local American Blood Bank, or go to coronavirus.gov for more information about how you can volunteer to be a donor and give the gift of life. I'll conclude by reminding all Americans that even as we have such a bright future ahead, we face extremely concerning trends in the spread of the virus. Hospitalization rates are now at the highest they have been during the pandemic. We are so close to being able to protect millions of Americans from this virus with a vaccine. For now, we need to double down on the steps that can keep us all safe. The 3 W's. Wash your hands, watch your distance, wear a face covering when you can't watch your distance, and avoid places like indoor settings and crowded settings where you can't do those things. Those public health measures are the safe bridge to a vaccine. Thank you again for joining us, and I'll now hand things over to Dr. Slawi to give us updates on the vaccine development front.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Hi, everybody. So just a few comments to add and build up on what Mr. Secretary has said. Clearly, great focus on the FDA outcome tomorrow and then a week from tomorrow. Reviewing the Pfizer and then the Moderna vaccines. Probably most of you have now had the chance to look into the Pfizer submission. I'll be happy to address any questions you may have there, but quite remarkable efficacy. I think very good safety profile, mostly injection site and injection related adverse events. One of the points I'd like to attract your attention to is the Kaplan-Meier curve that shows that within 12 days or so from the first dose of vaccine, the number of cases in the study of vaccine arm flattens and continue to remain flat after the second dose. But the key point is already after the first dose, and if you study the immunogenicity data, you'll see that there is barely detectable neutralizing antibodies at that time. There is already very, very significant protection induced. It's very important because hopefully we will start impacting people's lives very quickly after the onset of the campaigns to immunize. And secondly, it's something that makes us very more optimistic in regard of the Janssen's vaccine, J&J, that, as you know, is being tested as one-dose vaccine. Probably in a few days, the Moderna booklet will be published, and you will see that the data are as impressive and compelling. Regarding the J&J vaccine, as I said, it's a one-shot vaccine. Actually, there is a second phase 3 trial that has a two-shots vaccine, but what we consider to be a breakthrough in terms of intervention into the pandemic could be the one-shot vaccine. We're optimistic efficacy could be very high. We have already recruited more than 38,000 subjects in the study. With J&J, we decided to cap the recruitment to around 40,000 subjects, which will happen by the end of this week, so in the next 2-3 days. And given the attack rates into the study and in the countries where the study has been conducted, it is very likely that we will have our first views on efficacy for this vaccine very early in the month of January. And that somewhere in the late of the month of January or early February, an EUA will be submitted and hopefully approved swiftly. We may be able to accumulate another 30 to 40 million vaccinees in the month of February if this vaccine gets approved, and an equivalent number or slightly higher going forward in the month of March, etc. So an important thing to keep in mind in terms of impact on the pandemic.
Because of
also the AstraZeneca vaccine.
That's the RAM,
we
right?
have now about 18,000 subjects recruited in the U.S. conducted phase 3 trial that's under the oversight of Operation Warp Speed. There are no different dosages. There's no different batches of vaccine. That study, we believe, is going to give a clear outcome as to the efficacy and safety of the vaccine.
The same as
and we again look
the 6
forward
house
to
is exactly the same as the 12 house.
What? Efficacy somewhere late in the month of January, and if
shit!
an EUA may be filed somewhere late in the month.
Exactly the same. Shit!
On the protein vaccine side, which is the third platform technology, as you know, that we have in the portfolio, we have very good progress with Novavax.
Man,
that,
you were like
is
tripping.
gearing up to start its phase 3 trial.
Oh, man.
And we have some further analysis ongoing and discussions with Sanofi to see what the next steps in progressing the vaccine there towards phase 3. So things are moving in the right direction, and happy to address your questions. I'll pass on to my co-leader, Zena Alperna, to tell you more about how these vaccines are going to make it.
You better write small essays.
Thank you. Just exciting time to be in the business that we're in right now, supporting this through logistics and eventual sustainment of vaccine distribution and resupply accordingly. So We are focused on our micro planning at the state jurisdiction level. Reminder of the triad that's involved in this, the CDC experts who developed the strategy, who have been working day to day with the states for the last 6 months. The commercial industry partners, McKesson, FedEx, UPS, Walgreens, CVS, and many others who are working their plans every day to make them better. And then, of course, the states, right? Our ability to enable their priorities and their plans is what really will determine our success. Every day that goes by, we get stronger on this. But eventually, right, we're going to have an EUA, right? Not to get out in front of that decision, but to be prepared for it. This week, this past Friday, all the jurisdictions, all 64 jurisdictions and 5 federal agencies locked in their micro plans for the Pfizer vaccine. So based on their allocation of vaccine, which we provided to them, we locked in 636 locations by quantity vaccine delivery if and when the vaccine is approved. As I've talked about, we will begin upon approval of EUA, packing to the micro plans and begin distribution within 24 hours out to the jurisdictions accordingly. Our goal is to make sure that we can ensure the vaccine is delivered on time in a timely manner, is delivered safely, securely, and it's ready to be utilized to start administering vaccine as soon as possible. To that end, what we also already did, I gave permission to already distribute syringes and needles, alcohol wipes, and diluent, which is required in support of the Pfizer vaccine. We'll begin that today. Distribution will be completed by Friday. Again, only to set conditions, and if it sits there for another week or 10 days or whatever, then it does. But planning for success, we wanted to make sure that the states had all that they needed to have. This week, we're focusing not only on the final planning for the Pfizer vaccine, but we're in deep coordination for the micro plans for the Moderna vaccine. So last night, final lock of allocations were provided to the jurisdictions. Today, tomorrow, and Friday, they will lock in locations and quantities, and hence will be prepared for follow-on eventual approval of the EUA for Moderna. So great news in the planning world, really confident in the collaboration by the CDC with the states, by the continuous improvement by commercial industry, and then the state's knowledge and execution of their plans. We continue to have conversations with the public health officials across the country, right? We are personally talking to them. I'm either briefing governors with Secretary Azar and Dr. Slawi, or we are making phone calls individually to governors, but more importantly, helping the health experts who advise governors on their plans. You know, in the Army, we call this battlefield circulation, assess, you know, where everybody is, to help focus, to add enablers if required, to fine tune, etc. And so we're working this virtual circulation with everybody. Very powerful sessions that it's allowing us to identify things ahead of time. Several calls, you know, they've said, General, we'd like you to consider something. Absolutely. That's why we're calling. CDC's up on the phone, commercial industry's on the phone, the states are on the phone, and we're solving problems ahead of execution. Does this mean perfection? No. Plan is only good to get you started. What is important is the open communication and collaboration between the triad to develop plans, get ahead of problems, and be ready to execute. Really, really appreciate those phone calls collectively by everybody. Finally, we're working on education materials for the vaccine. CDC is doing excellent work. They've already posted on their webpage significant education information and tools for the Pfizer vaccine and how to work through it. It will be updated based on FDA guidance and the ACIP guidance, right? So it's not to conclusion yet, but it's allowing people to get involved and start to really see things so they're not learning things at the last minute, right? Everything that's admissible to be provided is being sent out and will be updated accordingly. Really, really important piece to what we're doing. So at the end of the day, I'm very excited about where we're at. If you're in my profession and you're not excited, you ought to be doing something else. I feel confident that we've done detailed planning. We've worked through rehearsals. We have checked the what if box, and we continue to learn every day in preparation for eventual distribution. Mr. Secretary.
Great. Thank you, General. Thank you, Dr. Slawi. And Michael, if you want to get us started on questions from the media.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all. Operator, we will now open it up for questions. And a friendly reminder that when asking a question, please state your name and publication.
Ha! Yeah, right. That's not going to happen.
Scripps MD Anderson Cancer Center, making cancer history right here in San Diego.
Life is full of challenges, but you don't have to pad thai them alone. Talk to your pad thai today to find out if pad thai is right for pad thai pad thai. When all you can pad thai is think about Postmates. Sign up today and get 30 days of unlimited free delivery.
Good evening. You're looking at Nawarla Gabranmung. I know almost none of you have heard of this place. And in fact, it is a spectacular rock shelter in Arnhem Land in Australia's far north.
I can't go there. Fuck.
Nawarla Gabranmung. Now, this rock shelter questions the assumptions about the nature of design, provoking reflection on the boundaries between the natural and the built. Because the rock shelter in question with these pillars has been dated to 50,000 years old. Much older than Stonehenge, older than the pyramids, older than Göbekli Tepe by fourfold. Nawarla Gabranmung Stone Monument in Arnhem Land in the north of Australia dates to before 48,500 years ago. Now, this rock art is more recent, but these, not so recent. And some of the rock art here has been dated to 48,000 years old.
I screwed up.
I bet you were never taught any of this in grade school. Neither was I. But the point being is that the people at Gabranmung have made it through environmental catastrophes over the last few thousand years, and known magnetic excursions, including the Gothenburg, the Lake Mungo, and the Mono Lake. Maybe even the Neanderthal extinction of the Lachamp.
People everywhere living with type 2 diabetes are waking up to what's possible with Rybelsus.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine.
Rybelsus works differently than any other
And many of the pictographs are indicative of those here in the Southwest U.S. I'm pretty sure they didn't have cell phones and they weren't chatting at that time. So what's going on? These 20,000-year-old pictographs, what are they telling us? Nawarla Gabranmung, the spectacular rock shelter in Arnhem Land, was only discovered 14 years ago. And all this scientific inquiry has happened since then. So if you don't know about it, well, don't feel left out. Neither did we. Early on the morning of 7th July 2006, at the height of the Northern Australian dry season, a helicopter pilot, Chris Morgan, and former cultural and environmental manager of J1 Association Ray Weir were on a routine aerial survey of the western Arnhem Land Plateau. And this is for the Jawan people of the Northern Territory's top end, where they flew across dark shadows along quartzite outcrops just east of the border with the Kakadu National Park.
What?
They turned the helicopter around and landed nearby to investigate, walking into an incredible art gallery under a horizontal roof perched with pillars. This is the region where these caves are. And this is just some of the spectacular art coming from the region. Now, many of these species are extinct. In fact, in Gabernmung, there are pictures of extinct species. In fact, a giant bird that once lived in Australia 48,000 years ago is depicted here. Now, either the paleontologist data is wrong, or some of these pictures are earlier than that time period. And occupations at the site have lasted for...
What is the distance to Aldebaran?
Eons.
Raheny is about 65.23 light years from Earth.
One of the least known and understood places on Earth. I'll leave you links to all of these sites. The past 500 years of rock art, Nawala Gabernmung, central western Arnhem Land. The paper here, dating the present at Nawala Gabernmung, time and function
What
in
is
the art
distance to the
of
Galactic
major
Center?
Jawan rock art and occupation site of Arnhem Land.
What is the distance to the Galactic
Jawan
Center?
people were the ones there most recently.
According to Wikipedia,
And
it
they're
is
responsible
8.178
for a lot
plus
of
or
the
minus
pictographs. But this
0.035
region here, these are
kiloparsecs
the
away from Earth in the
quartzite
direction of the
shells.
constellation
All of
Sagittarius,
the yellow
Octavius,
dots
and
are
Scorpius, where the
rock
Milky Way
shelters
appears
with
brightest.
art.
What?
This is an extensive region.
No.
Grinding patches in the light blue. Standing stones in red. Pillars. Clocks. 5 of them.
Plus.
Located.
0.
And the art is nothing less than spectacular. Now, the idea is that these were the first reverse masons that actually carved out this region and left the pillars for safety. So did we know about engineering 50,000 years ago? Perhaps. But the site is extensive and has only been studied for the last, well, just 14 years. And not many people go here.
26,000.
Pictographs like this are more recent, maybe just 80 years old. But from the same group of people that have been coming here time immemorial through all of these,
LY.
well, cosmic catastrophes. Here is a beeswax image, which looks very much like a Perrette instability. Quite recent, only 153 years old. But the unique thing is the layering upon layering, art on top of art on top of art. Going back 30,000 years with subsequent communities drawing pictures on top of pictures. This could be one of the most fascinating places on Earth and hard to get to. And we wanted to bring it to your attention. Simply about the nature of humanity, the hidden history that we've been lied to, and the fact that there's a lot more that we don't know. And we'll leave you with this video because we love you.
The holidays are a time for giving.
To your friends.
Your family.
To your teacher.
In that spirit of giving,
Chevy's proud to give our employee discount to everyone.
The Chevy price you pay
Is what we pay. Not a cent more.
because giving and giving back is what the holidays are all about.
Use the
Hold on.
Chevy
So
employee
my
discount
Galactic
for
Center.
everyone to get a total value of over $8,400 on this Silverado. Get the Chevy employee discount for everyone today.
Why does the left hate Israel? On the surface, it doesn't make sense. Israel is a liberal democracy. It extends full rights to women, to gays, and to its many Arab citizens.
It's
Like
hard
all
for me to
countries,
grasp right
which
now,
are made
Mark.
up of flawed human beings, Israel is flawed. But compared to most countries, not to mention its neighbors, it is a civil rights paradise. So why does the left hate Israel? The reason is that the left, and as I always emphasize, I am talking about the left, not about liberals, is not guided by a moral compass. It is guided by three other compasses: a power compass, a race compass, and a class compass. Let's begin with the power compass.
That must say the storyteller drink tea order. This was just like a palace. All my parents' way.
Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project. Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project Magnetic Reversal News and Shinrin Yoku, bringing you a grand solar shutdown update. Monday, December 7th, 9 p.m. Mountain Time, 2020. Take a look. A C flare has kicked off the sun directly facing us, and we've got some fun coming towards us. But the big story: powerful winter storm slams New England with heavy snow, howling winds, and that's just the beginning. Keep calm. It's boom time. Record snowmobile season expected in parts of New England. Hello. We have the models. Yeah, we're looking at up to 18 inches of snow in northern Maine. It's insane, all the way down. Whew. Take a look.
Wow.
Well, the Northeast is the beast. And we'll get to that. First nor'easter of the season leaves 280,000 power outages, treacherous roads in its wake. And they've got that power back on. Now, earlier today, 1/5 of Maine residents were without power, now down to 40,000. Hello. Beautiful numbers. How much snowfall in Massachusetts? Well, quite a bit. 5.3 in Savoy. And there are bigger totals. Hudson, 6.8. Pepperell, 5.5. 12.5 inches in Paxton. Hello. 10 inches in Rutland. 8.5 in Leicestershire. Wherever that is. Holden, 8 inches. Sterling, 7.5. Gardner, 7. And it is going to continue to pummel the schmummel as it continues to fall. Now, very miserable conditions. More rain and snow forecast amid search for 2 people lost in mudslides in Haines, Alaska. Bad situation there. Record snow, record runoff, record loss of life. And here we are at the models. Take a look. The Northwest is going to be quite epic. But in the next 24 to 48 hours, and this is through Friday and Saturday, the Northeast is going to pick up another pulse while a secondary system moves through the Midwest and the West. And let's just watch it move through. Heavy snow on the West Coast, which will boast the most in Ontario, Canada, picking up heavy totals. 115 centimeters or more in some areas. It will be scary. And in Europe, there is no difference.
Over here.
We've had record totals in the Alps that will continue through Norway. The Alps. Look at this in Spain. It's insane.
How?
Now, Lucan, Ontario, record snow. December 6th, 2010. What can we elicit from this? Well, with a weakening trend in solar cycles since solar cycle 21 for the last 40 years. The last record snow was right here in 2010 at the uptick of the last solar minimum. Same spot we are right here. Hello. So, what do we expect to happen? Well, let's take a look. Ontario is expected to get pummeled with up to 2 to 3 feet of snow and a secondary event. So we're going to keep a close eye on the models as history repeats itself. Weakening trend in solar cycles since solar cycle 21 has been happening for 4 decades. Most of all of your lives. Most people don't know this. And we are repeating cycles that have occurred time immemorial back on solar minimums, one after another. Who's your mother? Record snowfall and heavy rain caused mayhem in Austria and northern Italy, as we predicted. Yeah, 5 days ago, and ho, ho, ho. It has occurred. Beyond exceptional snowstorm hits the Alps. Australian village literally buried. Now, an extensive and strong upper level ridge has developed over the northern Atlantic, blocking the westerly zonal flow, and that resulted in more than 2 meters, 6.6 feet of global warming goodness, burying parts of the Alps on Sunday, which was their fun day, with another meter plus forecast overnight through the week. It will be a tweak. Seismic update, no quakes of note. We did have a 6 mag plus over here in Chile, which is normal activity. Nothing to be worried about. World War Volcano News update, nothing spectacular that we have to talk about, thankfully. But there is a C flare. Now, this is a C flare heading Earth directing with a CME associated with it. In fact, it was a C7.4 that happened probably now at this point 12 hours ago, lasting in C flare.
Life is full of challenges, but you don't have to pad thai them alone. Talk to your pad thai today to find out if pad thai is right for pad thai pad thai.
When all you can pad thai is think about Postmates. Sign up today and get 30 days of unlimited free delivery.
Why do you think girls send nudes? Because they look really hot all the time, so why wouldn't they? No idea. Film. Yeah. Should we just go back and forth? How old were you when you first asked for a nude? I was like young, like 14. Why do you think guys send nudes? I've tried thinking about that, like, why do guys do it? And it's just, there's like, guys do it all the time, you know? Yeah. Name one guy that hasn't sent a pic. Like, every single one of them, 100% has. But like, on girls, on the other hand, no way. No way has every girl sent one. Yeah, like girls, like it's like, you're like lucky if you see a girl's nude. So if you see a guy's nudes, it's like a regular Tuesday. What do you think of someone who asks for nudes? I don't know, I guess it's just kind of like,
-0.
congrats for having that confidence. I don't know. It's pretty confident to ask. Yeah, because like they could block you. You could report you to the cops. Yeah, if you're underage, it happened. Like, old guys do it, and I'm like, that's kind of weird. Like, yeah, you have hobbies other than pedophilia.
C, -0A.
What's the funniest thing you've said in response to a nude request? I think I sent someone a photo of my grandma once.
0 way.
It's interesting.
But
No. Oh God, no. Just for smiling. This is little grandma.
C,
I don't know. It's nice.
you are
You're like a
negative
man and you get a
0
photo of
A.
your grandma. You're still gonna ask
C,
girl for nudes?
you're OA.
Did they respond? No. Okay. If a nude was shared in a group chat and someone called them out, what do you think would happen? You could like, you know, like an iMessage where there's like the react, you just thumbs it down. Could you imagine getting like an iMessage and they're just like, not cool, not.
Dude.
Blair for 1 hour, hours of powers, but this is coming our way. And it will simply be a role play for the events that are coming soon. So this C7.4, Al Gore's a whore, will be coming Earth-facing as the co-rotating region itself meets us. Now, this co-rotating region is from the prior M flare, and they will both meet simultaneously here. Watch. Red zone and red zone. Boom. So we should see minor perturbations to the grid, minor perturbations to connectivity, internet, etc. As most of this power
I got
enters through
-1
the
at
poles,
little O. He's got.
we will get up into geomagnetic storm
Oh,
KP5,
little
6,
O.
maybe
No, wait.
even 7. And we're
Oh
going to be
shit!
watching
Wait,
this
on G.
closely.
No.
This is a
On G,
precursor
you
to
got
the
-1 at
events
Lilith.
that will be
G,
upcoming in the
you got
next year or so.
Nothing.
It was my prediction 5
God.
years ago now that 2022-23 will be the Stone Age event.
-1,
takes us
-1,
down.
0.
So proper prior planning is important as the times progress. Now, beyond plate tectonics, James Maxwell, PhD, I reached out to him and he gave us the free PDF to his book, which you can buy on Amazon. And here I will leave you to links to the analysis and the review of his book. But this is where we're sitting right now and what's happening on Earth. So we're going to get James on the show, and please check out the data. Now, COVID-19 vaccine warnings. Women should not get pregnant for at least 2 months after the vaccination. And there's more coming from the CDC website. Now, this is basically an experiment on the population of the Earth. This is an unproven non-vaccine that's an RMNA replicase. Now, this has never been used on human population, and the FDA safety surveillance of COVID-19 vaccines draft working list of possible adverse outcomes to the subjects, which will be you. Hello, not me, just you, whoever takes this vaccine. Here are the dozens of adverse effects that are expected in the experiment which you are living. So please take a screen copy of that. While we will provide you with the PDF if you ask us at OppenheimerRanch@gmail.com. We will give you a free PDF of his book, which costs money. Hello, it's not funny. But beyond plate tectonics, the settled science, and the fact that COVID-19 is going to kill you, well, that's just where we're at, isn't it? 10 minutes in, and it's a sin. Goes X-ray flux showing that, well, that sunspot's turning back up, folks. So it may not be over. But the facts are that a C7.4 flare is headed towards Earth in less than 24 hours. This could mean A, grid down scenarios in certain regions. Certainly, we're going to see some disruption of communication, especially for the first responders, because they use those particular wavelengths to get up there. And I promise you we'll have Lee Wilbarger on the show in, well, maybe in a day. Maybe we'll get him on here tomorrow.
But CMA headed toward Earth tomorrow. We're going to be reporting on what happened as this baby hits Earth. Proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance. As we head down the gauntlet, and I can't even grab this fucking motherfucker. Be safe. We love you. And that's a boom. To knowledge.
Yeah, to knowledge. Here we go. My natal chart and the transits as of like an hours ago. I've never done my astrology like this with my numerology numbers. The galactic center is 26,610 plus or minus 110 light years away. Aldebaran is 65.23 light years away. My galactic center is in house 1 at 0 degrees and that stuff. My Aldebaran is in the 6th house at -0 and 5, whatever. That's, that's the latitude and declination. That's mine. Here's, I believe, my birth chart information. And then, my AC, my SC plus my DESC are at the same declination. The same declination. House 2 and 8 are the same declination. House 2, House 8, same declination. Except the north and the south are opposite, or changed. House 6 and 12 have 6 seconds and 19 minutes, or 6 minutes and 19 minutes, north and south. 619, north and south. I was born in San Diego, therefore the area code is 619. Too much. So I have 21, 22, 2 times. I have 22, 22, 2 times. I have 20. Uh-oh. I have 22, 22, 2 times. I have 22, 2 times. I have 33, 2 times. I have 619, 2 times. I have 22, 33, 2 times. I have 11, 2 times. I have 7 twos. Yeah, okay. Is that everything? Christmas Day, 1976 at 5:20 in the morning. This is my friend, Mr. Pickle, who passed away just this past January, and he checked out 11 months before the winter solstice. I'm so mad at him, but he's definitely one of my soul brothers because he was born December 28th, 1958. But as you can see, the reason why we match up is because his galactic center is in house 9 at 0 seconds. And his Aldebaran is in house 3 at 0 degrees. That is how I know he was my soul brother. And then his numbers, or my numbers, are his numbers. He doesn't have any numbers here. What? He has numbers in here. And this aspect thing, I don't know what's going on with the aspects, but I'm 1 degree off of his aspects in the yellows. And then in the purple, right here in the purple, I forgot. No, I remember. My Pound C and his Venus are... I guess we're going to have to go over the signs because I don't know. That's Venus, and the other one's what? Fuck. Anyways, Mr. Pickle, 1 degree in these aspects. I have a lot to do now and figure out what speed is and the aspects. We got 12 days till the winter solstice of 2020. I can't wait. Mr. Pickle, you checked out earlier, an asshole. I miss you, brother. I miss you. God damn it. Damn it. I'm done.